Hey everybody out there, my name is Dragnix, and I wanted to give my sort of stream of consciousness. I want to try something a little bit different with Life is Strange. Life is Strange is a sort of an adventure, sort of like a visual novel kind of game. It's very similar to the Borderlands, Tales from the Borderlands style, as well as the Telltale style that we've known in terms of, you know, storytelling and sort of point-and-click adventure. It is interesting to me that I've enjoyed the game. And is it worth the $5 for the one episode? I do believe so. I mean, it is got enough difference in terms of the storyline and some interesting characters per se. Although, I will say I'm sort of surprised that it's gotten as much praise as it has, pretty much across the board. Because while I do agree that I do enjoy the story, and there are some parts of the story that I really did have fun with, I find it to be a story that can alienate rather quickly, that it can be a situation with that you may not just get it at that point. This is a realistic story with, you know, sort of, you know, out there elements. Let me just talk about a little bit about the story. You are Max. You are a photography student at this, you know, not a rich or a private school, but this is a known school for photography. During the events of the game, you find out that you've got this wonderful power. Basically, you find out by one person being shot and you being able to stop that person from being shot. You have the ability to reverse time. And so the way that mechanic works is that you will discuss something with people, you know, get them in the conversation. You'll learn something, and then maybe they would write you off at that point. Like, you know, you don't know this. Why would you even bother with me? But then you reverse time and you sort of, you know, jump the gun at that point. At first, I will say that mechanic was done okay. It was a great introduction in the way that they did it. But as I used it more, it started to get a little bit old. Because it was used in the same way over and over again. There was one section where it was used in a different way that I did appreciate, when they started to go outside the conversations. But when it kept on going and going with the conversations and not really being used in a completely different way, to me it started to get old. Rather quickly. It just was like, okay, let me reverse it. And even with the like multiple choice, like the ones that you could set up choices that would affect the game later on, while it was great that you had the ability to rewind and sort of look at the other option, it felt like you had to go through every option, at least for me. And that, it sort of works and sort of doesn't. It is nice to see that other step of guideline, but it sort of takes the fun out of, you know, the sort of mystery in which, well, what was that decision that I didn't make? It is definitely feeling different from other adventure games, that's for sure, because of that. But I don't know if it does that good in the end. It sort of loses that mystery, unfortunately. Like the influence of your decision. And the thing is that based on the triggers that you would use, one decision may be in your mind a lot better than the other, even if you didn't choose it to begin with. So that's interesting. It does add an element of, you know, who do you really care about in it? One section where, you know, you are covering for a friend that he was caught with drugs. Spoiler. I know I need to be better with spoilers on that, but you know, that's minor compared to everything else in the game. They start setting up this plot. They start setting up several plot lines regarding, you know, sort of security, regarding, you know, a missing girl. The interesting part is that the main portion of the story revolves around this missing girl, and it seems to be setting up for things, but to be honest with you, I started getting lost with that because there was absolutely no reason for this main character to really start searching for this girl or start, you know, really asking about this girl. I didn't see the prompt of why she was looking at it over and over again. Only later on does it sort of give her a reason to, but it felt forced at that point. Like, you know, why do you keep on having me ask about this? Other than that, characters, you know, they vary. I do think that the characters, they introduced a lot of characters in a one episode. People that it seemed like I should know. And I think that did also hurt it overall. There were definitely some characters that stood out. Victoria stood out. You know, Chloe stood out. And, you know, there were definitely a couple of characters that, you know, were an interesting change up in terms of personality. But they just throw a lot at you very early on. And while that can work, it makes me wonder exactly what I'm setting myself up for. Now, I will say this. It does definitely set the landscape for maybe a strong series. I do think that, you know, it does have a lot of characters and a lot of ideas that it starts off with that I definitely could see it sort of bringing it together later on. But I am a little bit concerned with the again, praise for it. This is a very down-to-earth, you know, high school girl story that I think a lot of the elements have been approached before. I mean, obviously, the time mechanic has been introduced new, but there is going to be a situation where somebody's not going to be able to comprehend it. Not to say that the story is bad. Not to say the story is bad. You just may not relate, and I think people who are not going to relate the story are not going to like it. I think there's too many elements that are focused on that portion that give it a little bit of a problem in terms of the way that it presents itself. So other than that, you know, I do think that there is potential here. I will be definitely playing the second episode, that's for sure. I did buy the entire season, save a little bit of money. I mean, gotta make content for the channel somehow, guys. But I do think that there is underlying issues that need to be addressed. I do think they're going to need to change. They're going to need to add another mechanic. The rewind mechanic is going to get old for me really fast. It already is approaching that. Now, they did use it cleverly at some points, and it was a puzzle solver at some points. Although there were situations where it felt like it was just, you know, oh, hey, look, you got a rewind mechanic. We need to use it now. But other than that, you know, it is interesting, and I will definitely be paying more attention to it as it goes along. Should you get it right now? That's a good question. If you like story-driven experiences and you are not, if you are open to listening to the discussions of a teenage girl, like that kind of plot, I think you'll enjoy this. If you aren't, I think you'll have some problems with the story and relating to its characters. There are a variety of characters here, but you only get sort of tastes of them, and so you gotta keep that in mind. All right, so hopefully that gives you a little bit of idea of what Life is Strange is. I know this video is a little bit different. I didn't want to do this in terms of like a first impressions video because it's too short of a situation, even though I actually beat it at that point. So, you know, rather just show it out to you guys and just sort of discuss it. This is Dragnix signing out. If you do like this content, again, like, subscribe, all that jazz. That helps me out immensely. And I will see you later. Hey, thanks for watching. If you have a chance, leave some feedback and comments below. If you liked the video, hit that like button. And if you want more content like this, hit that subscribe button. This is Dragnix signing off, hoping that gaming brings as much fun to you as it does for me.